Hey there, welcome to Bitches in Business. I don't remember which number episode. I should have looked that up before we went live, but we are back with Kristen Dwyer from
Yay.
Leo PR. Hey, Kristen.
Hi.
We're super excited about today's episode because not only does this mean that we're a year into Bitches in Business, but it also means that Kristen is a year into her business. So if you have not seen that episode, we'll make sure to link to it. But we started this whole series off talking with our friend Kristen about how she left her corporate job and was going out on her own and had a lot of questions, and she was green and new. And now we're back a year later, a year into Kristen's business, ready to talk about how it went. Was it better, worse, crazier than expected? Yeah,
she has all the answers.
Yeah, I bet she has every answer. Right. So let's reintroduce you, Kristen. I did a little bit there, but tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll jump right into it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kristen Dwyer, and I'm from Leo PR. And like you said, I've been doing this for now a year, and I left Simon & Schuster at the end of 2016, and I am a freelance book publicist.
Yay.
Yay. I'm Nikki Pierce, and I'm with Method Agency. We are so excited to have you back. I'm thrilled to learn everything. We were just talking about how this is going to be a catch up for us as well, because we've both all been so busy. So we're excited to hear what you have been up to. Why don't we just jump in? It's been a year. What's changed? Like, what's the, what have you learned in the last year?
Yeah, well, first of all,
give us a thumbs up or thumbs down on being in your own business. Maybe
yeah, first of all, I want to say, thank you guys for having me on again. It's also, this is so fun for us because, you guys have been such a big part of my first year. You were there from the beginning, seeing me kind of start and, answering my questions. And, so it's really nice to kind of see your faces and, talk about everything. Definitely a big thumbs up for sure. 100%, It's actually funny. I met with a friend last night who is thinking about going freelance. She's also a book publicist. And so it's actually perfect timing because I was thinking about a lot of those, mistakes I made or, things that I was worried about at the beginning that I'm not so worried about now. And, it's been, and I can't believe it's been a year. I really, when you guys sent me the email, I just couldn't believe that. And it's really weird. It's strange because it went by so fast, but so much has happened and I have learned so much. But again, big thumbs up. It just, it was such a rewarding year in so many ways.
Do you think, that you're in a different position, like looking at what you do now, is it look different than you thought it would a year ago? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm here. Sorry. I was wondering if you think what your business looks like now is significantly different than what you imagined it would be or what you set it out for it to be a year ago, or is it achieved all your dreams?
So I think, especially if we watched my interview last year, if we looked at me then, I never had a business plan. I wish I kind of did. I wish I had thought about the structure a little bit more. Last year, I think I was trying to think of themes for the year. And last year, I think it was survival. And this year I want it to be about stability, so I think if you asked me a year ago what I would think it looks like a year, and maybe we did discuss that, I don't think I could have imagined the way it's happening right now, but I'm really happy with the way it's turned out. But I just don't think you're understanding what actually my business would look like a year ago, which is probably not a great thing to admit, but oh well.
When you say business plan, what do you think that would offer to you or would have offered to you through the last year?
I think I just didn't have clear-cut goals. I had goals in mind. I wanted to get clients and I wanted to be financially stable and I wanted to I had kind of short-term goals, goals like meet with so-and-so and, do outreach here and that kind of thing. But I think I might have benefited from some kind of, this is a 2-year plan, let's say. And that's kind of something I'm thinking about doing now. So I guess, it's good and it's bad because I have the experience of the business. I have 1-year experience. So I know what my business looks like now. So I can make that plan. And maybe last year I would have been totally off course, in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's funny that you say goals because we literally just did our 2018. Yes, it is March. We did our 2018 goal setting. Was it this week or last week?
Last week, yeah.
But I totally encourage you to do that, and everyone who's on the call, because I think we did it from year one, at least, even just pie in the sky, like 5 years, 2 years, 1 year. And then putting like action items behind them, because we have all of these years worth of these kind of documents that we can go back, look at, decide what worked, just like laugh at ourselves at a few of them, and then see, oh my God, we hit all of these goals. So
yeah, I think that's something that I would totally recommend for you. And I think there's a lot of bad PR is not the word I mean to use, but like people think of goals and they're like, but then that boxes you in and you get so focused on achieving. Like, that's not what we do. We've kind of just naturally that's not how I perceive resolutions for myself personally. I kind of just feel like when you set intentions for your business or set things you want to achieve, and even if like Nikki and I are in our 5th year of business, so looking back at 2013, where we thought we'd be in 5 years is laughable. We had no idea. Like, we thought we'd be much bigger, right? And it's cute, it's fun, but it is really, really cool to see the things that we have achieved, even if we're not looking at these goals every week. And so like, even if you just sat down today and just jotted out like a year from now and 3 years from now, I want to look like this, and then go back at it, I think you'd really find it to be a fruitful activity.
And I think I remember you guys, I know that you guys have your certain structure that you do, and, you know, you have your career coach and everything like that. So it's just, that's actually, it's something that would kind of pop up in my brain. And then, you know, with all the other details and things that were happening with the business, it kind of got pushed to the side. So yeah, I definitely want to make it a focus for this year. And I think that's a great idea. I think because, and actually this is a story I was telling my friend last night, you know, something that gave me major angst the first couple of months of my business was when I was making the website, and everybody was kind of recommending that I do almost like a mission statement, you know, kind of on the homepage, or just some kind of line or something. And that sent me into a tailspin because it felt so, it was, you know, and I think actually one of your questions also made me feel the same way. It's kind of like, what is your business about? Like, what are you, you know, what is your essence basically?
What's your why, Kristen? Yeah. What's your why?
And I was just like, I don't know. It felt like, it felt so heavy. So eventually, you know, I was like, I need my website up. I don't want to do this. I can't handle this right now. And also, I don't think it's necessary in certain ways. So I just didn't put one up there. But it's funny, like, just, you know, I think that's kind of the same way I thought about the goals. Like, they had to be these very lofty, powerful goals. And sometimes they could just, you know, they can be no pressure. Like, this is a dream, or this is, you know, something that we're striving for, but it's nobody's going to come after me if I don't achieve them.
Exactly. I think we have like 10 versions of a why statement, and none of them have ever made it onto any sort of website, printed material, business.
That makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, I think that it's a really good exercise to think about, like what you're doing and why you're drawn to doing it, and what you want to change about the world with what you're doing is essentially what they're asking you. But I don't think it's like the end of the world if your business doesn't have one.
And for us doing it together as partners, I think it was interesting to see that like we both have different whys personally, like, or like what encourages me or what I get excited about in the business day to day is different than what Nikki does. I tend to like, here, we'll tell you what they are. They're like, I like the building blocks of things. So like for me, I don't even know if it needs to be marketing. I like building a business and building the systems and this or that. And Nikki loves the community aspect of it. And like, which really lends itself well to marketing. And so we have two different things. And it's like, well, what do we do with these two things? And how do we create that? And I think we do. It's hard to put down on paper. And we have some things that we've liked better than others, but yeah, not really ready to bring it out to the world yet.
Yeah, it's kind of, it feels like your mission statement. It has to be like the essence of you. And that's hard to boil down to a couple of words.
Right.
And the essence changes. I don't know if you've thought about that in the last year yourself. Like, I think the things we were doing year one, while the essence of them are the same, are totally different year 5.
Yeah, like from the types of clients, like thinking about you said to us, I'm a book publicist. Like, are you just a book publicist? Would you be open to working with somebody outside of that? Maybe the answer is no, but does that box you in by just having that one title? So should your why be, I'm a publicist, I work to connect, people in need of press with press. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah. because also, that idea of pigeonholing yourself, or picking that slot, sometimes it kind of naturally happens. And I think a year ago, maybe I thought my clients would be a little bit broader in a sense, but at the same time, I've naturally, I'm kind of saying that I tend to work on genre fiction right now. That's where I'm doing most of my work, with romance, women's fiction, and then also with sci-fi fantasy. And, maybe a year ago, I probably thought I would be doing have a couple more clients that weren't book related, but it also is about like the people that I've met because I'm in the book world constantly. It's just, it's who I run into and who I'm excited to work with. So I'm very happy with my clients, and it's all books right now. I mean, we've kind of worked together a little bit, and that was so great because it kind of married my interests of like pop culture and, and fandoms and everything. So that was a very natural fit for me. So I think it would have to have that kind of, that bridge, I don't think I could just start working on, medical, nonfiction books tomorrow, but I wouldn't want to anyway, so it's, yeah. So my clients, I think I think they are pretty where I thought they would be a year ago, but I thought it might be a little bit more diversified with genres, let's say. But have you found all of your clients through people who knew someone, sort of that sort of connection, or have there been any other sort of sales funnels, to use a dumb term, but or how are you getting those leads? It's really just been through connections, which I mean, I'm so lucky. I'm like, knock on something. It's been really great. And I have to say my authors that I work with have been, so helpful in that. And it's just been through agents or my other authors. And I've been really lucky. It's really just been, I mean, publishing is small in a lot of ways, and everybody's, especially authors, they talk a lot with each other when they need help. So that's where I've gotten most of my clients.
Tell us about like the day-to-day of what your business looks like. Do you have all retainer clients? Are you working with all long-term relationships? Are you just working on projects? Are you doing a mix of both? What does that look like?
So I think I'm kind of unusual for a book publicist because of the authors that I work with, and most of them are, writing multiple books a year, which is unusual, or for some genres it happens more. But anyway, so because they have multiple projects a year, and most book publicists work on a book campaign, I have 3 clients right now that I'm working with year round, and 2 of them where it's kind of a longer relationship, where it's not just tied to one book release. So I think that's unusual though for freelance book publicists, because they're usually, unless you have a repeat author, it's usually, and most authors write a book a year, let's say, you're kind of, you're just tied to that, 5 to 6 month, book campaign. So it's a good mix right now. I'm just looking at my list and everything, but right now it's 3 people who I have year round, which is it's really great. And that's been something I've really enjoyed, because, when you work at a big house, you have repeat authors, and that's really fun. And it's always great to have those relationships, but it's really nice to kind of have people that you're working with that you could see their career kind of grow and change over the year. So yeah, it's been a really good experience.
Cool. That's really great. So if you were going back to yourself a year ago, here's a quick big question. What advice do you think you'd give yourself? Like either based on, would it be that goal setting? Did we already answer that? Would it be, some mistake you made?
I think, and I think maybe you guys told me this and I didn't listen, and somebody else definitely told me this and I didn't listen, but it was kind of, don't say yes to everything. There was a moment at the beginning, which I know myself, even if I told myself, I probably make the same mistake again, because it's that fear of like, I'm not going to get work. I need to work on these projects. And basically I took on a little too much too fast. I think that was it, because I was trying to get a business and establish, clients and everything. And there was one kind of group that I was working with where I feel like, because it was so early on in my business and I was working on multiple projects for them, it just wasn't, I felt like I didn't do my best because there was so much going on. And that left me feeling was a horrible feeling. And just to feel that kind of, that stress of that a little bit, like, oh, this is a little bit too much. And I should have said no, I should have said no, but it was that devil on my shoulder kind of being like, well, what if you never get another job,
Right.
We
probably told you to trust your gut, because it was probably when we told you that was after our kind of first mistake in that, where we just didn't, we took it anyway, and we knew we shouldn't have, and sure didn't turn out well.
Yeah. And it ended up being, I think fine. There wasn't serious damage done, and it was of such a short term, but looking back at it, I think that's something that's so great about being a freelance, having a freelance job, because like I should be picking the people I want to work with. I should be excited about the people I want to work with. And, this job, I was a little bit off, and it was basically the workload and also starting a new business at the same time.
You say that last sentence again, you cut out there.
Oh, just the workload and starting a business at the same time.
Yeah, just a little too much.
Yeah. So I taking a moment to say no.
Yes, no is the hardest word to say, right? Especially in business. It's hard to learn when to say no.
Lately, I've been saying no to things, like even things that like I want to do, like relationships, going out to dinner with people, and I don't like it, but it's like I'm so overwhelmed that I realize like I'm not being a great person. I can't go out with that friend. So no, my answer is no. I just want to stay home tonight. But it's been really hard because it's not like me. Yeah.
I have a good friend, and she's really good at saying no, and I recognize it when she does, and I know it's just for personal like health reasons and that sort of thing. And so anytime like something comes up that I want to do but I shouldn't, I like channel her. I'm like, just be her, just say no. Say no.
That's such a good, I think I'm learning that a little bit more too. But I think also the publicity, as a job, I think I had somebody say this to me once, that publicity is the only group that can never say, I don't know how to do that, especially like in-house and stuff like that. You have to kind of figure it out. So publicists, I think we're trying to make people happy, and we're trying to take care of people most of the time. So saying no, I feel like, is doubly hard, because we're just trying to make everybody happy and get that done and everything. I don't know. It's just, but it is a really good skill to have.
Yeah. Cool.
100%.
You talked a couple of times about freelance life or something like that. You said the phrase. And so I want to know what that looks like for you. What is your day-to-day? Are you always working from home? Do you have a home office? Are you traveling? I know the answer to this, but I want to tell the audience what you're doing. What does that look like? What are your actual working days?
I guess maybe kind of comparing it to the time when I was in-house, working at a company, it's so different. I mean, I think because there's no, because it's just me, and I'm doing call meetings and stuff, but it's not like I was doing at Simon & Schuster. So my days are, the number of hours that I'm pitching has probably increased like 200%. And I thought, I was pitching, that was my job at Simon & Schuster, but because there's all this other kind of, other stuff that you had to kind of participate in, moved away. That's something that is a lot of my day. I am traveling more, which was kind of one of the reasons why I left, was I kind of felt I wanted to explore more and do all these things. And because I am not tied to a company, I can kind of do that now. And that's been really great, because it just gives you a different, I really love kind of going to these book events and going places with my authors, because you get you meet different people, you get to see the bookstores, you get to meet the booksellers individually. And I think we talked about this last year too. Like, I think nothing replaces face-to-face meetings, and just having that, that in-person interaction. True. So I've been able to kind of have a lot more of that this year, which I think has been really great.
What do you think are the events or the conferences that authors should be going to right now?
Well, I mean, it's, I feel like it's evolving in a way. I think we were just talking about Book Expo and BookCon, and I have not been to Book Expo in two or 3 years. 2 or 3 years. I don't know. Time goes by so quickly. And I've heard different things lately. I think having it back in New York is really great. And it's a great place to and I know that they're changing the conference a little bit. So I think actually after this year, I might have a different impression of Book Expo than I did. I went to BookCon last year and that was amazing. And that was really great. And that's, but you have to have a big fall release to kind of participate in that one. But there's so many young people and bloggers and YouTubers who are attending BookCons. It was a really great energy, and everybody was just so excited about books and authors, and that's always fun. I'm not actually going to RT or RWA this year, but those are two big romance conferences that obviously a lot of authors still attend. And I think hopefully I'm going to try to attend some different book festivals this year. So, some kind of ones that I've never been to. So we'll see.
LA
and then always
Book Fest?
I'm not going, but that's definitely on my list, because I just want to see some of these places that that I've worked with over the years and never have been to.
Which one did you just say, Nikki?
The LA Times Book Fest.
Oh.
It's a fun one. What do you think authors or even publicists who want to get meet more people, what can they do at those conferences to really stand out or make an impression? Can they bring something? What do you think works?
Of course, getting on a panel or, doing some kind of meetup would be great. I think, trying to figure out what bloggers are attending, it's kind of hard because everyone is so different, like a BookCon or something, hopefully you're going to be on a panel, but, otherwise just, being in the booth with their publisher and, maybe doing a galley signing or something. Those kind of things are, usually what authors could do. I think it's just kind of just trying to put yourself in front of people and just, try to say hi, which I know is hard for some people.
Or even just authors we've worked with. I think meeting other authors is so important because I think you might agree the author community is so tight knit, and the biggest champions of your books a lot of times are other author friends. And so that would be go make some friends. We've actually said that to people before.
Oh,
go there and make friends.
1,000%. I think I've said that about and you can also say that about book signing because, there's few, we're not, the traditional tour is not happening as much anymore, but people are still going places. And it's kind of one of those things where I think even if one person shows up at your event, you're still in the store with a bookseller who you can talk to, make a good impression with, and have a conversation. And that's really important. And that's, again, that face-to-face contact. I think maybe that's what it kind of boils down to. I think taking advantage of that time that you have in person with people, whether it is at a bookstore, whether it's with a blogger, or whether it's with other authors, to use that to make new friends and people who will help, spread the word about your books.
Yeah, I think it's so much easier after you're like, oh, I know that I met that person at that thing. It's easier to get an email in and an answer than, random Joe Blow on the internet.
And even if they're not in your genre, I think it's we've talked about this, but the romance community is always fighting that romance readers don't just read romance; they're reading a million different things. So of course, if you're in the romance genre, you should be talking to other authors because we're all reading each other's books, and that's a different audience that you could talk to.
Do you think that it's possible in today's media world and today's social media world for an author who's very doesn't want to participate in social media or doesn't want to do things like they may have been 10 years ago, wrote an incredible book, maybe did a couple tours because it got put as an A-list book with the publisher or whatever, and then it did well, but has no social media presence or does nothing, doesn't go to the conventions. Do you think it's possible today for that to get any traction? Do you know of any stories that's happened with recent authors where someone really isn't out there in any way, but just is, I don't know.
I think I can't think of a specific title right now, but I definitely think, especially for the more literary fiction, you're going to get people who are not as, who aren't going to be on Twitter 24 hours a day. I feel like a lot of people have asked this question, over the last year. Even before that too. And I'm not sure because on one hand, I want to say you want to be true to yourself. You want to be, or, you know, it has to feel organic. You know, you can't, I was talking with another publicist the other day, and she has an author who is really good at like social media, and she just has this really great presence. But if I tried to copy this woman, I would look crazy, because that's just not me. And that's just, I just don't have the tone for it. You know, it wouldn't work for me. And so you have to have that kind of, it has to feel natural, but at the same time, I think you do have to kind of push yourself in certain ways. So it's finding maybe that middle ground. Yeah. But of course there are people who are going to be able to, you know, be successful without it. But I think that's just happening less and less.
What do you think are those trends that are coming up or that are here that authors need to really get in front of or think about for their future? I know, like, I've seen some authors start becoming like YouTubers. Like, there's like some crossover happening now, and
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm very knowledgeable today. I don't know. The trends is hard, you know, and I just feel like, you know, it's interesting to see over the past year, like different publishers trying different things, and I can't say that there's been anything where I would say like, new surefire way to get on, you know, to do this or whatever, or to, you know, to hit the Times list or something like that. I feel like this year has been a lot of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I can't say that there's been anything that really sticks out in my mind as like the thing. And I haven't seen, you know, the authors doing the YouTube thing. Who's doing it?
I've seen a few. I'll have to share them with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this. I mean, YouTubers obviously is still really important. I feel like Bookstagrammers still really important, but those aren't really anything new. You know, the boxes still, you know, still doing really well and everything. But you know, I guess one thing is I feel like not the trend anymore. I'm not really sure if Facebook is helping authors that much, especially in the romance women's fiction genre, because it's so crowded. That's what I think. You know, whereas I thought for a while it was, I mean, everybody was doing it, but it's also one of those things where you just kind of have to figure out how to work the system a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't think that's even just books. It's like every industry we're seeing is like across the board. It's just such a huge decrease in engagement and a bigger need to actually allocate funds towards any sort of advertising or even boosting just informational posts that you want to share with your readers. So Facebook is, and even Instagram is a hard beast to crack right now.
Yeah, and it's
we have clients where we like Nikki's been working on one of them this week, and I just realized I haven't seen a single thing from that client. They used to be in my feed all the time. I know she's posting every day. I can't believe that I don't even see the things that I'm administrating on that page. How are we not seeing it? And so if it's us, let alone like the fans of the page, it's really frustrating.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess to go back to your question about, you know, even what happened at the beginning, another kind of mistake that I think I made was, you know, my strengths are not in marketing, but at the beginning I was kind of thinking that I could incorporate some of the marketing, you know, stuff into my daily routine, you know, just, you know, helping with Instagram or helping with Facebook every once in a while. Nothing like what you guys do, but just if there was anything kind of minimal that I could help with. And that I kind of what I was talking about before, it split up my brain too much, where it divided my focus, and I just didn't think it was helpful. So that was something I thought that maybe I could help a little bit more with clients in the future. And it's just, I'm solely just doing publicity stuff.
Well, you know of an agency that you're welcome to utilize our services if that comes up again.
I don't know like how you guys do it. I just like, it makes my brain hurt, you know, looking at like Facebook ads or whatever. And I wasn't even doing that. I just kind of was like, oh, let me look at this information. Oh my gosh, guys.
It's funny. It's like whatever your industry is, you feel like it's just second nature, or even just like, oh, everyone knows this. Maybe it's that imposter syndrome. I don't know. But for social media, I'm like, well, duh, everyone knows X, Y, and Z, and they don't know X, Y, and Z.
No,
as I've come to find out.
No, they do not.
I would like to hear, I know we're kind of talking about actual PR stuff, but I'd like to hear how your business is running, like from a tactical standpoint? What are you using for accounting software? How was this is your first year of taxes. How's it going? Like, tell us about what you're using to make business happen online or whatever. How are you doing meetings? Are you doing video meetings? Like, talk about that a little bit.
Okay. So, I'm so glad I had this meeting with my friend yesterday because I went through everything. Basically, I was these are all my systems. So so in publicity, the one thing that I think I'm missing a huge component of this, is where I keep my contacts. That's been kind of a journey this past year, and I have not found a good solution yet. So right now, I've used Insight.
You told you what we use, Insightly, right?
Yeah, Insightly. But for me, I kind of need a search component where I need to be able to search my contacts and say like, I need to find Nikki who likes pop culture, to kind of be able to kind of find that person really quickly. And that's something I had at Simon & Schuster, and publishers have this system that is really great that they use, but I don't have that available to me. It's not something I could get right now. But so I'm using like Excel for that, and that is awful. But I'm working on it. It's working on it. But I use QuickBooks for my accounting. Insightly is kind of a backup system for me right now where I keep my contacts just in case something went awry. It was where I was able to kind of upload those things right away. I use Canva a lot just to make images for some of my clients, or, for my own Instagram posts and everything, especially with authors, we do a lot of quote images and that kind of stuff. So that's been really great. I took a Photoshop class this year it's not something that I use all the time, but it's something that I wanted to be able to, if there was something that we needed to fix right away, I had at least the basic skills to be able to do that. And I'm really happy I did that just for my own, to make nicer press kits and, to kind of, to kind of have a little bit of a design, ready to go, has been really good.
You can resize a headshot now.
Exactly. Stuff like that I just don't have to wait for somebody. And I also don't have a help desk to help me, or, somebody that I could scream out to kind of help me like move that, get rid of the background on an image or something. So it has worked out really well. What else? QuickBooks. What else am I using? I mean, it's funny. I'm using Outlook for my mail, and I didn't have Outlook for the first 3 months. And I think it's also me coming from a very corporate experience where I just didn't feel like I was doing work unless I had Outlook open. So my brother told me that's really weird, but
that's so funny. Do you like it, or you're just used to it? So you want to?
I think I'm just used to it, and I was just like, I can't. Especially I like to put things into folders, so it got a little.
Are you doing do you do all personal emails? Are you sending anything in mass? Are you sending press releases to a larger group that you're using a system for, or no? You do basically one-on-one type stuff?
No, I've been doing one-on-ones, which. Also is hard, but at the same time, it's again, I have so much more time now. It's been I think it's been a really good exercise for me, to not have that to fall back on. I've done a couple when we've had there was a cover reveal, and I was doing bloggers, and I did a kind of a more mass email there, but I try not to. And I don't have a system that I could do it easily right now. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, that's basically it. I mean, for me, it's really, I just need my email and my contacts.
Right. What does your day-to-day look like? Are you keeping kind of an office hours situation? Are you kind of just scheduling whatever you need to do?
Yeah, I think that's probably where I'm not great at. As you guys know, it's hard to shut off a little bit. And that's been but not awful, enjoying doing, but I tend to be kind of on call even on the weekends. But the good news is that when I want to go out for a walk or for a run in the middle of the day, I do it, and then I just work a little bit later in the evening. But I'm not really keeping office hours. As you guys know, I live in New York City, so I'm in a New York City apartment, and it's getting a little crowded right now. So I'm currently going to look for another. I'm looking for a 2-bedroom apartment just so I can actually have a designated office space. Right. I thought about doing the shared kind of office thing, but I really like waking up in the morning and sitting here with my coffee and going through my emails like first thing. I like that. I like being home and doing it. It's just I need a little bit more space. And I think it would be better for me mentally just to have a door that shuts to an office.
WeWork has a membership where you just pay a limited fee. Now, it's not available at every location, so you have to check, but you can get like an office a month. Like you can get certain credits to just use it. So you could even just get out once a month.
That's an interesting idea.
Affordable. So just something to keep in mind.
But that also, you know, especially I kind of like, I like being at home, and I have really enjoyed that in a lot of ways. I think it's just, so I didn't want to commit to, it seemed like a waste of money for me to say, because also there's not one really close by. So it'd be like commuting, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's the whole reason why.
The nice thing about it is that you get updated about what's going on in that building. Like even if it's like, we have yoga this afternoon, and so you could go for just that, or you could go to their evening events, because I don't know that they make you sign it. Like you're technically limited in your membership, but I think there's ways to skirt it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's something that I definitely I've thought about over the year, and it just, you know, I've been happy working from home and going out to a coffee shop. I really love that. Like kind of having the freedom to pick up my computer and just go work from somewhere else. Like I've really enjoyed that.
I know. I think even 5 years later, I'm like, oh, 9 o'clock, I'm ready to be online. You know, someone's going to be watching. And I'm like, 9:10. Like, could been getting a drink before. I'm gonna, you know.
But at the same time, you know, that's your choice, and I think that's kind of the nice thing, because we're getting the work done. It's just, you know, maybe you're gonna, you know, go take that lunch or go, you know, that afternoon, yoga class or whatever. But then you come back and you do your work, and it's good, and I love the freedom of that. I mean, that's kind of the nice thing about being, there's good and there's bad of it being just me. You know, I miss my colleagues and everything, but having that, you know, being in charge of it is something that's I've really enjoyed. And I think I'm still kind of shocked about, kind of like you were saying, Nikki, like, oh, I could start at 9:30 if I wanted to, or I could start at 8:30 if I want to, and nobody's going to say anything.
No one cares. No one knows. Yeah, I think it's a huge perk, and also a really hard thing to figure out how to do, and like not feel either guilty or not feel like you're not doing something. But I love being able to like wash the dishes after I eat lunch.
Yeah,
or throw laundry in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was the other night I was working really late. I tend to do my best work later in the day, which is not great for having a social life at night. And like, so if I don't have a good afternoon, I'm like, well, I got to put in the work tonight because I've got too much to do. So, well, that was one of those nights, and it was late. I mean, approaching midnight, and I was like, I had emails I needed to send, but then I'm like, but I'm going to be that person that's sending emails. Like, not that I think I'm going to wake them up, but it just seems weird. And then like 2 emails came in from our accountant at 11:59 p.m. And I was like, all right, I'll just send these. Once after midnight, I'm like, okay, now I look like a crazy person. I draft them and then I press them in the morning.
I'm like, I 100% agree, but I'm the opposite. Like I wake up really early. So sometimes I'm like, this might be too early to send the email. And I do the same thing. And I kind of save it and then I send it later. But I think that I tend to work better earlier. And that's been really nice, because I can kind of, you know, I love getting up and just, you know, coffee, emails, and then taking a little break and then starting up again.
I agree.
Yeah. Well,
freelance life is great.
It is.
Yeah. But I think that the balance of that is the guilt you feel. I think something I thought at the beginning of the year was, I'm going to work out every day. It's going to be great. I'm going to, you know, always go to yoga. I'm going to be so good. And I still struggle with that. I mean, that's my hardship, you know, should I be working out or should I not be working out? But it's hard to shut off and not feel that guilt of like, oh, I should be doing some work right now.
Totally.
Whereas like if I was in an office, I'd be taking lunch, I'd be doing, you know, different things, but it's hard to shut that off.
Yeah. I mean, in corporate world, I would 100% take an hour lunch if I had the time to do that. But now at home, I'm like, oh, I'm eat while I'm watching my email come in, or, you know, should I not go to that class at 6 o'clock, even though I should be done? And I would like, literally I have to like schedule it out on Monday. I'm like, Tuesday I'm doing this class. Wednesday I'm doing, just so
and
it's on the calendar. And you
and
have
it's
to
very easy to be like, no, I'll do this work instead, because that seems, so it's finding that balance. I think finding that balance I'm not really perfect at yet.
Yeah, I think
it's just like a lifelong challenge. I think that was one of my goals for 2018, is like being better about balancing work and life and scheduling out like me moments,
Yeah, but in my head, especially last year, it was like, well, this is the beginning of your business. There's no time that can't be the priority. But I do think it's going to make me a happier human if I do start doing that,
And I think the difference is, as like a person with our own business, is we have clients that rely on us, right? So as long as you're getting your stuff done, and like Nikki and I have each other to rely on. So if she's waiting on an answer for something for me and she can't do her next part of the job, and I decide that I'm going to go take a 4-hour lunch, like that's not fair, right? And the same thing, like if a client's like, I got a project on Friday and you are now, you joined a swim club, like that's one thing. But if nobody else if we're getting our work done and literally we have 2 things to do that day, whatever, that is how it works sometimes. And
yeah. And I think that's exactly it. And I think all of us would be, we wouldn't take that 4-hour lunch if we knew something was due. I think the problem is I tend to use the work as I should be doing something right now instead of going to this class, instead of going to this class. So even with, it's, cause there's always something to do. That's the thing. Like the to-do list is never going to end, but I guess being able to prioritize the urgent needs to happen, where you can take this moment for yourself and wait an hour and do it.
I do want to just say, for the record, because there might be people watching this that think that this is a reality, there is never just 2 things to do in a day. So that was just a terrible example. That is not ever a reality of having your own business. Like, I can't imagine opening up my to-do list and be like, wow, that will take me 15 minutes. I'll take off today. Then, like, can you imagine?
The to-do list just rolls.
Yeah, it's just like my goal is to like not have so many Post-its on my desk. I need to get. I think I have a notebook problem. I see a pretty notebook and I'm like, oh, I'm going to use that one. And meaning I also have like 7 to-do lists that are floating around in 5 different notebooks. So maybe streamline my to-do list, because it just seems to kind of never end. And
it never will. And so that's something I'm just trying to learn about productivity and like how I work best. It changes all the time. Yeah. But I think I try to do a to-do list every day, so it looks different. So there's always the one that exists, right? But then I pull the things from like, the world will end if this doesn't happen. That's where I am right now in life. Like, the world is literally going to end if these things don't happen today. I don't like working like that, but that's what I'm working on. And then like, okay, if I happen to get some time, I'll also do this. And then that list is going to look different tomorrow because the world has ended. So those tasks are over. And now I'm on to the new world end tasks. And so, yeah, that's how I've been functioning. But I know some people work from like a bigger to-do list for the whole week. Like, I can't. I have to have a daily.
I think it's funny how we all have our little systems and stuff, it's just, and it's been, for me, I was at Simon & Schuster for almost 10 years. So my normal systems kind of got tossed. And that's I think that's where my Outlook problem happened, because there were so many other things that got tossed out and I had to restart and make new systems that I was like, I just need this mail system for me to feel normal.
I need my old security blanket, my old Outlook.
Good Outlook.
That's so funny. Let's put a nice bow on this. If you like the person you met with last week, if there's someone out there who's listening to this a year in, what's your advice for someone who's just starting their own business?
I think, well, first of all, trust yourself, trust that you can do it and that you are going to be successful in a way. I think that even if you don't believe it, I think just kind of repeating that to yourself, because it's funny being on the flip side of it, because I wish I could. I was so nervous, about leaving and starting, and you put the work in and it's going to work out. You're going to be able to do it. What else would I say? I had something else and now I totally blanked on it.
Make your goals.
Make your goals. Yeah.
That's our advice to you.
Yeah. No kidding. It would be trust yourself, but also I think really important to just, to say no to some projects. If it doesn't feel right, say no. There you go. There, I streamlined that for you.
Perfect.
So remind us again where we can find you. And I believe that one of the places online is recently redesigned. Is that true?
Sure. No, it's maybe I moved it around a little bit, but it's Leo PR. Yeah, leopr.ny.com. I'm on Kate, and Instagram is leopr.ny. Yay!
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kristen.
Thanks,
for
guys.
this catch up on your year and being our friend and getting to work together a little bit this last year.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And thank you for all your support and everything. And this has been great.
Yay. Thank you for being on. Thanks everyone for listening and watching. We'll be back at some point with our next episode, and we are excited to have you today. Thanks everyone. Have a good day.